Hi guys, and welcome back. Today we're looking at some of the most exciting saltwater fishing techniques out there, popping and stick baiting. Now, this can quickly become a very frustrating and very expensive endeavor if you make the wrong choices early on in your topwater fishing journey. In this series, I'm going to cover gear, techniques, and the decision-making process behind selecting the right equipment for your specific application. In part 1, I'm going to cover my personal gear choices for my light, medium, and heavy setups. We'll also be looking at the facets individually and how they differ from each other. Let's start by having a look at stick baits. Now, generally, you'll have two different kinds of stick baits. You'll have a floating stick bait and a sinking stick bait. Floating stick baits are inherently a lot harder to work than sinking stick baits, but with a little practice and the right technique, these can be employed very effectively. Looking at floating stick baits and sinking stick baits in general, they're made to imitate fleeing or darting baitfish on the surface or just subsurface. Actions generally include long sweeps or short, more erratic twitches. These are all designed to have a natural swimming motion, and depending on your retrieve, your action will actually vary. These can also just be skipped on the surface like a fleeing baitfish, but I've had more success with the standard long, slow sweeps. Moving on to poppers, we generally have three traditional designs. Firstly, the very well-known large cup-faced popper. This is a fantastic search bait because you can employ it in much deeper water. The massive commotion caused by the vacuum and spray of this cup will draw fish up from deep water to come and investigate what's going on. Very often your bites will come during the pause section of your pop. Secondly, we have something that we call a diving popper. See, the cup face is angled, and this is something kind of between a diving stick bait and a popper. It will still float, but when you impart an action or pull down or sweep, it will actually dive down and create a massive bubble trail behind it, causing a commotion to draw predatory fish to it. Lastly, we have what we call a pencil popper. It's got a much smaller cup face and is meant to be retrieved at a much higher pace. This is also something of a hybrid between the best of both worlds of a floating stick bait and a popper. You've got the commotion that the cup face creates, but also the skipping and darting action of a stick bait. Before we get into my specific setups, I need to touch base on the fact that you've got very specific rods that are dedicated to either stick baiting or popping. But in the middle, there's a rod that can do a little bit of both. For someone starting out, I would suggest going for this multi-purpose rod. It's not going to be a perfect rod for either stick baiting or popping, but it will get the job done well enough for you to fish for years to come without having to go to a dedicated rod. Now, let's look at my light setup. I like to fish a rod between 7.7 and 8'2" in the P2 to 4 class. This specific model is a 7'9" PE3, rated to cast lures from 30 to 50 grams. Now, this is a comfort weight. You can exceed that sort of 10 grams up and 10 grams down, but beware that you don't snap your rod while doing that. I've got that paired with a 6,000 size saltwater reel, spooled with PE3 and topped up with a 100-pound leader. Now, you can go down to 80 pound if 100 pound is a little bit too much for you, but that's what I prefer to fish. I like to throw lures anywhere between sort of a 28, and the 50 gram class on this rod. This rod does really well for smaller GTs, yellowfin tuna, sort of 10 to 15 kilos, and our Cape size yellowtail, up to sort of 10 to 12 kilos. It also works great on any flats in the tropical areas, and you can easily catch really big mahi-mahi, dorado, or even king mackerel or kuta on this setup. Moving on to my choice of medium setups. I like rods between 7'9" and 8'3", anywhere from PE 4 to 6. Pair that with a 10,000 size reel, either spooled with PE 5 or PE 6. Lures, we can step up a little bit here, anywhere between 50 and 100 grams of sweet spots for most of these rods. Remember, all of these different rods will have different lure comfort ratings and different max lure weights. So you're going to have to make sure what's applicable to your specific rod. Looking at my leader, I like to run 120 to 150 pounds, depending on the conditions and the species of fish we're targeting. When we get into this PE 5-6 world, this is where we can really start to put some pressure on fish. With the lighter setups, you have to play a bit more carefully with your drag, but in the realms of PE 5 to 6, we can actually start trying to stop fish from reaching the reef or stopping them from spooling us. This is a perfect setup for someone who wants to start out and doesn't know if they want to go super heavy or super light. Somewhere right in the middle, and you can land most fish between 10 and 30, maybe even 40 kilos if you play them right on a setup like this. Lastly, let's cover my heavy setup. Here I recommend a rod between 7'7" and 8'2". PE 8 to 10 is generally what we're going to use within our heavy setup. We're going to pair that with a 14 or 18,000 size SW reel. You can go larger towards the 20 and even 25,000 size reels, but that is more dedicated to PE 12 setups and when we're targeting monster bluefin or those giant GT in Oman. I like to run this setup with PE 8 because it gives me a good balance between line capacity and breaking strength. You can put an immense amount of pressure on PE 8, and there's no human in this world that can break that. Pairing that up with a 180 to 220 pound shock leader, and obviously with this size of gear, we're going to step up our lure size as well. Anywhere from the 140 to 200 gram range is what I personally like to cast with these setups. And that covers the first episode of our introduction to popping and stick baiting. In the next videos, we're going to dive into different kinds of rods, species specific gear, terminal tackle, lure rigging, and much more. If you like the content, please consider commenting, liking, and subscribing. Till next time, cheers.